So this inner revolution changes everything. And in some ways changes nothing. The great paradox of living awake in the midst of being human. It changes everything because there is a fundamental shift in consciousness. You could say a fundamental shift in perception, a fundamental shift in attention, a fundamental shift of allegiance. From the surface, from the periphery, the periphery of self, the periphery of me and my life, which is really encapsulated by a certain myopia that comes when we see through the lens of ego self. And the ego is made up of many layers of identity. Me as this, me as that. I am this, I am that. Yeah? Based on who we think we are, how we feel, how we react, what happens to us or doesn't happen to us. Yeah? Then our identity gets formed, and then I am this or I am that. I am spiritual or I am unspiritual. I'm enlightened or I'm unenlightened. I'm lucky or I'm unlucky, and so on and so on. I'm loved, I'm unloved, and so on. These many layers of identity which remain, for the majority, unexamined, meaning just not seen, and therefore a great veil of perception takes place. That's what I mean by the myopia, the short-sightedness, the narrow view of me and my life. And then the many attempts to fix it, change it, control it, reject it, and so on, or hold on to it tightly. All of which create suffering. So this is the conventional default position. The revolution comes, the change comes, and it's radical when we start to recognize that there is a field, if you like, of beingness, just like the ocean within which the waves appear, a field of beingness that is actually closer to home. It's not on the periphery, it's closer to home, and it's always here. When we recognize that this is what I am, this is, if you like, the fabric out of which I am made, just as the waves are made out of the ocean. They are the ocean. So it's not like cutting that off. We don't have to fix that. We don't have to get rid of that. But this recognition of that which is more intimate, of the innermost, and is always here in all circumstance. Yeah, in the storm or in the silence. And that recognition is an energetic recognition. We touch it, we feel it, we know it. Not from here, in the mind, in the intellect, but deep. Beingness recognizes beingness. And then I am not this or that, I simply am. I am is always here. Of course, the periphery still plays itself out. Yeah? But something shifts. We are no longer trapped by being identified by this and that. identity opens up. Yeah? We fall into our true identity, which is the I am, the beingness. Now we no longer look through the narrow view of me, and we can see through the unbounded vista of beingness. We can call this openness. We can also call this presence. Yeah? It's a radical shift, yeah? Because instead of seeing division, seeing separation, seeing life out there doing something to me, we become very intimate with life. I and life are one. The I am and life are one. Not only does it change the way that we relate to ourselves, the way that we relate to what appears in this self, which is thought activity, yeah, feeling activity, emotion activity, and sensation activity, and perceptual activity. Yeah? Not only does that change how we relate to that, but it also changes how we relate to each other, how we relate to all things, and how we relate to life itself. We can include everything, to the world, everything. That changes reactivity, division, fear, to a much quieter, softer, more open way of relating. Of course, the human may still arise with its emotions and backlog of pain or burden or whatever, yeah, part of the human story. But the way we relate to that can also change. It's held, if you like, in that openness, in that beingness. This is where the paradox is. We know beingness. It never leaves us. It's what we are. It's our essence, our essential nature. It's vast, unbounded, infinite, without boundary. It's that which holds everything. It's that within which everything appears. So even when the pain or the turbulence or the broken appears, it can be held in that. In this way, we start to wake up to our true nature. Not as a mythical destination of enlightenment where everything is perfect, but as a falling into the deepest, most intimate, most innermost knowing of beingness itself.